Everyone is still asleep, friends, and I don't know what it will take to wake people up. We're seeing so much crazy stuff happening around the world. We're seeing shortages, we're seeing crop losses, we're seeing all sorts of conflicts breaking out around the world, and it's just like it's unfathomable to me that people are still sleepwalking through life. They're not getting prepared, they're not getting ready. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's super frustrating to see what's going on out there with people just not paying attention at all. I get not wanting to be overwhelmed by stuff, but people are just not wanting to deal with reality. Let's jump into it, folks. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant, but you know, I spend a lot of time on YouTubes. This is all about what you guys are sharing with us. I have been getting a lot of frustration from you guys, seeing people out there who just are not getting prepared. Like World War III is like unfolding right now. We're in the midst of World War III, and yet people are not getting prepared. They're just keep going on and doing whatever they're doing. They're just, you know, still going on vacations and trying to live as normal as they can. They're racking up credit card bills because they don't see the inflation storm happening. This is just, it is beyond real. It's surreal to see people still refusing to deal with reality. We're going to talk about kind of why are they doing that? People are either unplugging from the news or they're like, oh yeah, there's stuff happening over there, but it's not going to affect me. They go to the grocery store and they see prices going up and they tell themselves this is as high as they're going to go. They're actually going to come back down. So what I'll do is I'll kind of hold off a little bit on purchasing things and wait for the prices to come back down. And you and I kind of look at that and go like, that's insane. That's like stupid wishful thinking. And yet that's exactly what people do. People are exactly that. They are stupid wishful thinking people. They're waiting for the government to come and save them. They're waiting for the magic pixie dust to rain down out of heaven and inflation will go back down. The Federal Reserve will save all of us. But yet, like any little bit of thought will show that doesn't make sense at all. We have had a system that has worked so well here in the West, in Europe, in the United States, over in Australia. The system has worked so well. The United States has gone around and pillaged the wealth of all the nations of the world through finance. It's a true modern marvel that the United States has literally gone out and stolen trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars of goods and services, and all we've done is we've just printed paper and digital ones and zeros, and we've given them out to people, and they've given us the product of their work. They've given us so much of the world's wealth for the promise of a currency that's supposedly stable, backed up by the full weight and might of the United States military, which in itself is becoming more and more of a paper tiger. Now, I'm not saying that the United States couldn't concentrate itself and really do a tremendous amount of damage somewhere. But the fact is that we couldn't occupy Iraq, we couldn't occupy Afghanistan, and the United States military is spread all over the world. We're trying to defend every nation's borders out there except for the United States's. I mean, we have troops building walls and patrolling borders all around the world. I mean, we have troops in Kosovo protecting the Kosovo border. We have troops, you just go across the continent of Africa, how many different places the United States has troops training other troops and actually helping the troops patrol different borders. And just, we have our aircraft carriers spread out. So many of them are in maintenance mode right now. Of the 11 aircraft carriers, we have like 4 on the ocean right now. We can't take over the whole world. And people in U.S. Congress, they've been able to demand so much for so long, and they've been able to get their way every single time. They haven't realized that there is a coalition of countries, the BRICS countries, Russia, China, Iran, and others, that are starting to stand up and say, you know what? We're kind of sick and tired of you just bullying everybody. And these countries are starting to take strategic, patient steps to supplant the U.S. supremacy over the entire world. But then let's go back to the home front, and what's everybody doing? They're all talking about, I don't know if you ever heard of FIRE. It's financially independent, retire early. And they're all like, you need to set it up so that you have a whole bunch of money, and then you're taking a withdrawal rate of 4%. So that your wealth is growing by over 4%, but you're withdrawing 4% out of your retirement monies every year, and you can retire early. If you can live on that 4% of your investments, then you're good to go. Well, what happens if your investments drop by 75%? Not down to 75%, they drop down to 25%, drop by 75%. What happens if you have, say, $1 million in the bank, but then next year it only has the purchasing power of $500,000? The purchasing power of your investments, the purchasing power of your money has just been cut in half. And then it happens again the next month. It gets cut in half again. And every month it starts getting cut in half. And then after a little bit of that, every week it gets cut in half. Suddenly your retirement early, you're presupposing everything's going to be peachy fine for the next 40, 50 years. That's stupid. Friends, we're going to see in the next number of weeks the world turn upside down. And if you don't have assets in your hands, they're not real assets, period. Friends, we see what's happening at the grocery stores when times are perfectly good. The food factories that are making all sorts of processed garbage that, for the most part, is what Americans eat. And you may not like that they eat that, but here's the fact, is that when their food factories shut down and they're not getting their food, they're going to have to buy their food somewhere else. They're going to have to buy other food somehow. And they're going to come after your Whole Foods or your fancy foods. And it's all one big pile, right? It's all one big system. And if one part of the food system goes down, people are just going to buy other food. And there is not going to be enough to go around. The food factories are having issues. They can't get parts to their machines. They can't find electricians that can make the machines work. That's two problems. They can't, all the engineers and electrical workers that can actually keep these things running, more and more they're retiring. They've had it up to here with the BS and all the garbage that they have at their offices or at their warehouses and their factories. All the put your pronouns here on the page or something like that. They've had it up to here with that. They're done with that. They're going to retire. A lot of these guys have gone past retirement age. They've kept working because they kind of believe in hard work. But during the cough, a lot of them are just like, I'm done. I'm not. You want me to put something? No, not going to happen. You want to stick something here? No, not going to happen. See you guys. I'm going to go retire. I'm going to go work on my backyard. I'm going to go work on my house. I'm going to do something else because I'm not putting up with this garbage. And you see that everywhere. You can't find a good electrician to get anything done around your house. At least here in Pittsburgh, everyone I'm talking to, nobody can find an electrician. You can't even get them to come out there and give you a bid. It's not that they're scalping you and charging you way too much. It's just you can't get them to show up, period. Same thing with plumbing. Same thing with so many of these other trades and everything like that. We've talked about the trades being an issue. Well, factories right now, they can't keep people employed. and they can't find people to actually make things work anymore. And so that's why you go to the grocery store and you're just seeing holes all over the place. Well, that factory must be shut down. That factory's been down for how long? Clorox company, they got hacked. A lot of these other companies are getting hacked now too because they're so dependent upon computers for everything. And without the computers, they can't operate. So we're seeing more and more supply chains in the good times becoming worse and worse and worse. As I've said so many times, how long into World War III will the internet be up? How long into World War III will the electricity grid be up? And if you think longer than for a couple of hours, you're kidding yourself. And I know, you think that through for like 5 seconds, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. The first thing the Chinese will do is take down our power grid. It makes sense. And it's not all that hard to do. They have like 5 million Chinese citizens in the United States right now. And however many hundreds of thousands that they've sent across the border, the southern border, without any documentation at all. It's how many of them are still loyal? I mean, they are citizens of China. They have family members back in China that are being held hostage and are being threatened if they don't do whatever the party tells them to do. So how hard is it really to bring down the power grid? And friends, I'll tell you this, it's not hard. It is not hard. We've seen a few events show us how easy it is and how scarily easy it is. And then the internet. I mean, much of that's just based on the power grid. If you take the power grid down, you've taken down the internet too. If people can't communicate with each other, how much food's going to show up at your grocery store without the internet? None. How much food's going to show up at your grocery store if there's no power? None. So friends, the ideas that we're putting out there that our whole system, our way of life is in danger and could collapse at any moment. The idea that people aren't taking that seriously at all is mind-boggling. And you don't have to be a doomsday person to look at it and just go, that just doesn't make sense. You talk to the average American, and something like 60% of Americans believe that we're going to be in World War III within the next year. And if you just ask the average American, do you think that we'll still have the internet during World War III? I think that people, once they think about it, will go, yeah, I realize that that's probably not going to stay up. And then you realize how much in the United States operates on that, and it's just, people just haven't given it even a cursory thought. Nobody wants to think anymore. They just want to be filled with wishful thinking. They want their government to just keep whispering sweet nothings into their ears. They want to keep watching their reality TV shows and worrying about who Taylor Swift is dating or something like that. It's amazing how people just want to retreat into their entertainment. They want to live vicariously through other people's lives. And they don't want to take their life seriously at all because everything's fine yesterday. Everything will be fine tomorrow. And you and I know that's not how that's going to work. Friends, please, 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 wherever you are right now with your preparedness, get more prepared today. I'm not saying go out and spend a ton of money. If you don't have money to spare right now, well then do some things that are free to take a little more control of your life. Do you have information backup? Like, do you have files that will work offline? Have you downloaded Wikipedia and all these other files that you can get for free online that will work on a cell phone or on a tablet without the internet? You can download them onto a hard drive. You can download them onto a laptop. You can download them onto a card that you can stick in your cell phone. Doesn't cost any money. It's free. And then you have basically a virtual internet at your fingertips to help you figure out what to do. I mean, you won't be able to connect with other people, but you'll be able to read tons and tons of information. Nowadays, you can get basically the world at your fingertips on just a little tiny card the size of your thumbnail. It's crazy. Have you taken those steps? And that's just a thought, you know. Have you gotten stocked up on food so that you and your family will be able to eat? Do you have stuff to cook with? You know, whether that's you have wood around your house, you have the ability to build a rocket stove if you don't already have a rocket stove, so that you can cook with food, cook with wood. So many different things that you can do that don't necessarily even cost anything. When I say build a rocket stove, well, all you need is basically like 4 or 5 cinder blocks, clean cinder blocks, and a hammer, and you can build a rocket stove. You don't need to go buy something fancy, but you have some cinder blocks that you can, and the knowledge of how to build a rocket stove with that. Little things like that will go a long way. A lot of that is free. It's just a matter of doing some work, thinking about things, and taking some active steps to get more prepared. All right, folks, I know you guys, I know I'm preaching to the choir. You guys are getting more prepared. You're taking steps, but you're surrounded by people who aren't, which makes your situation even more difficult. All right, folks, if you found this video to be useful or helpful, you might want to check out another video from this channel. There's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. God bless you all.